Another example of white slavery, sorry to say guys, you're not going to probably like this if you're African American, but another ancient example of white slavery, which was ancient and long ago. The Greeks and the Romans were around at the time of Egyptians, and they traded with the Egyptians, and it's been known in history since scientists and archaeologists have found out that Egyptians and Greeks and Romans traded with Egypt, and the Greeks and the Romans are white. They are white. And they all had slaves. So you know, their slaves were in arenas. And they battled it out to the bitter death. Yes, their slaves fought each other. Sorry to say, each other. That's how their slaves lived. Now, for the women slaves, guess how they lived? Just like the Asians, they were either sold into brothels, and if they got pregnant, they were just forced to have the child. There was no birth control back then. And sometimes they had just many children and forced to have them. There was no birth control, there were no condoms, there was none of that. Sorry to say. And they just had the children. Alright? They just had them. And some women were either maids, and they were forced to either serve a lord or a noble. So think about that, or a noble lady. So think about that. Greeks and the Romans. Yeah, that was the fate of slaves. That was the fate of slaves. The men slaves, they battled it out. Didn't matter. In arenas. That's how I understood it when I read about that stuff and watched documentaries.